Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. My name is Lisa Pope. I'm the president of the Upper Downtown Neighborhood Association, UPDONA. We are a registered neighborhood organization that works very hard to represent the interests of businesses and residents in Upper Downtown. I'm excited to have partnered with the Building Owners and Managers Association and the Downtown Denver Partnership to host today's meeting. Of course, a special thank you to all of our city leaders who have joined us as panelists, but also thanks to all of you. I know people are still connecting, but we had more than 100 people registered to attend today. That includes members of BOMA, business owners, tenants, residents, and office workers, and we're excited that you're all here. After the presentations, there will be a question and answer session. In addition to our panelists, we also have additional city leaders here that will be available for questions. That includes Councilman Chris Hines, his senior aide, Paul Rosenthal, Councilman Watson's senior aide, Bonnie Guillen, and Lieutenant David Albee. So please submit your questions in the question and answer button area at the bottom of your screen. And one last note, as you can imagine, everyone in the mayor's office is extremely busy. And today they've added, obviously, emergency storm meetings. So Deputy Chief of Staff Evan Dreyer is here, but he might have to pop in and out. But he plans to, be here for questions and answers. One more thing I forgot to tell you. When you submit your question in the question and answer area, please also list the name of the person to whom the question is directed. And now, Beth Moisky.
Thanks, Lisa. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Beth Moisky. I'm Senior Vice President here at the Downtown Denver Partnership, and we're pleased to be part of this presentation today. I also represent the Downtown Denver Business Improvement District. The Business Improvement District has been around for 32 years, taking care of all of our downtown public rights of way in the 120 block area, and Downtown Denver Partnership has been around for over 65 years. We're a place-based economic development organization, and we're here to help create a space where everyone wants to be and wants to live and conduct business. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Lisa.
Okay, I think that we are now going to move to to Rob to introduce our panelists.
Hi, my name is Rob Squire. I'm the Vice President of UPDONA. You've already heard from Lisa and Beth, so I won't introduce them, but I would like to introduce our panelists for today in the order of speaking, or at least in the order that we had originally intended for them to speak. As Lisa had said, because of the snow emergency, we may have to rewicker the order a little bit. But first is Terry Osowski, President-elect of the Denver Metro Building Owners and Managers Association, or BOMA. Evan Dreyer, Deputy Chief of Staff for Mayor Johnston. Armando Soldate, Executive Director of Denver's Department of Safety. Ron Thomas, Chief of Police for the Denver Police Department. Stephen Martingano, Deputy Chief of Police for Denver's Regional Transportation District, or RTD. Ryan Ertman, Director of Safety and Security for Downtown Denver Partnership, and Travis Bogan, Director of Special Projects for Denver's Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, which you probably know as DOTI. As Lisa mentioned, although they won't be speaking, we have 3 guests today who will be available for questions at the end of the presentations, including Lieutenant Dave Albee of the Denver Police Department, Chris Hines, City Councilman for District 10, and Bonnie Guillen, who's representing Darrell Watson, City Councilman for District 9, who was unable to join us. With that, please let me turn it over to our moderator for today, Stephen Shepard, who is the Chief Staff Officer and Executive Vice President for the Denver Metro BOMA.
Thank you, Rob. So we're going to start off today with Terry Osowski, and she's going to kind of set the stage for the kind of reasoning behind the forum today.
Thank you, Stephen. I just want to talk to you about a little bit about the Denver Metro BOMA. It's a 103-year-old organization and represents building owners and managers throughout the Metro Denver area. As you look at the Denver downtown skyline, most of the buildings that you see are members. Although the organization represents other outlying areas, we're here today to discuss the issues facing our City of Denver membership. The reason this call came about was I also work for Hines, and I manage 2 downtown commercial office buildings. We're a member of BOMA. We actually contribute to the bid, and we're members of UPDONA. Lisa Pope reached out to me when my buildings became members and asked me what were the issues facing our client. The main thing that I told her was our buildings are actually just facing tenants who are leaving the market. And it's very difficult for the ownership. It's difficult on the tenants because their biggest issues are crime, public safety, and homelessness. And they just want to make sure that their employees are safe. A little story, I actually recently met with a tenant who was who's up for renewal. And after we got all the niceties out of the way, he just said to me, Terry, I don't know why I would stay downtown. So I know that a lot of my tenants are on the call today, and I'm hoping that we can answer that question. Why should they stay?
Okay, Stephen, I'm sorry I forgot to introduce you, but our moderator for today is Stephen Shepard, who is the Chief Staff Officer and Executive Vice President for Denver Metro BOMA. So Denver, you'll be moderating the call today. Stephen, we can't hear you. Oh, you're muted, Stephen.
Muted.
Thank you, Rob. Terry, thank you for setting that up for us. And so it doesn't look like that Director Soldate is on yet.
Okay.
So Chief Thomas, we're going to go ahead and start with you if that's all right. And take it away as to what you want to share with the group today.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. Not so happy about the weather, but at least doesn't interrupt us meeting with each other. I heard some of the concerns that were just recently shared about why should folks stay living in or working in downtown. And I think what I would want to share at this point is that obviously we recognize the challenges and understand that a lot of those challenges had to do with the unhoused that were very prevalent in downtown Denver last year. I think everybody on this call probably recognizes that the picture in downtown Denver is much different today. 10 very large encampments were moved out of the downtown area into permanent housing elsewhere. So those encampments are gone. I would submit that there are no large encampments in the downtown area now. Certainly, there are pockets of individuals who are still experiencing homelessness, and we're having to continue to address those folks and continue to work on getting them indoors and getting them access to services and such. But I think that what we are seeing, because we were able to get a large majority of those folks indoors, is that District 6 downtown Denver is much safer today than it was last year. And I think it feels that way. I've heard from residents, from business owners that they agree with that, and the numbers bear that out. Just looking at the numbers, gun-related crime is down about 13% in District 6. Just about every other crime category is down. About the only crime category that is up slightly is street robberies and business robberies, and those are things that I think we have the resources to attack. I think one of the advantages to getting a lot of those folks into housing is that we no longer have to deploy our resources to address that particular concern, and so that has allowed us to be able to deploy our resources to other areas, not just within the district, but even within the downtown core, to address other issues of need. And so I think that is what has driven our reduction in crime. And I think that as we continue to do that, and as we continue with our violence mitigation efforts in downtown, particularly as the nightlife scene expands in the warmer months, I think that we will continue to see increases and improvements in safety downtown.
Thank you, Chief Thomas. Again, just as a reminder, if you have questions, please make sure you put those in the Q&A section down at the bottom of your screen so that we can make sure we address your questions at the end of today's forum. So, Deputy Chief Martin Gano, you are up and sharing with us what's going on at RTD right now.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity here to speak with everybody. Here at RTD, especially the Transit Police Department, we continue to grow. We are currently at 79 police officers, several are in the academy, and we're going to be in the 80s here by the beginning of April. We know that safety and security in a welcome transit environment is very important for our customers. So our CEO obviously has taken the step to make sure that we could have an internal police department and tackle issues immediately. So that is, the route we're going, and we continue to go and hire personnel and hope to be over 100, 120 come summertime. What we really need is customers on our trains and buses, right? We notice, especially when there's large events, Taylor Swift, for an example, multiple people utilize public transportation to get to the event downtown. We had, very minimal, if none at all, issues. And I think a lot of that is safety in numbers. When a lot of issues may be perception based. We are a very safe and secure transit agency. We do tackle problems immediately, and we try to dispatch our resources with great partnerships within the 8 counties and 40 cities to include Denver Police Department. One thing I would reach out to everyone on this call is please go to the RTD website, put in police in the search engine. You will see that our 2,300 square miles have been broken down into 5 sectors. We now have a commander in charge of each one of those sectors. So you now have an immediate and direct line to reach out to somebody to find out what's going on in your area. If you see any issues, if you see any problems. A second thing that we try to push all the time is our Transit Watch app. It's a free app for any mobile device, whether it be Android or Apple. It's a text-based system that goes directly to one of our 2 police communication centers. So you will get a live person that will answer you, while you're texting. It's great, especially on modes of transportation. When you have other people around you, you don't want to be speaking out loud and telling, what you are seeing. We don't want that turning into a separate issue. So it's a text-based app that, really sends it to us, and we directly can send someone to assist on that situation. So.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief. If you wouldn't mind, would you put that app in the chat so that everybody can see remind everybody what that app is so that they can download it? I think these tools that agencies are providing are excellent, and making sure we get the word out on those is important, right?
Yeah, I definitely will. And thank you for giving me a lot of time to try to figure out how to do that. So I will do that while the rest of people speak. So I appreciate it.
So next up is Ryan Ertman. He's going to talk about what's going on with the DDP.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here, having the partnership here. This is obviously our biggest focus. When I think about why you would stay downtown, I will counter that with this is the time to stay downtown. The city, the mayor, the police department, the Downtown Denver Partnership, everybody has done a lot to make this to try and make this a safer environment, and the stats show that we've done just that. And I think right now we need, placemaking and crime prevention through environmental design all has people as a component to that, which means we need people down here. We need people going out to lunch, walking around, having fun, going to after work events, during work events, breakfast, everything. We need people down here to be enjoying what Denver has to offer. And I can honestly say that over the last few months, we've seen a huge improvement and had so many compliments about the work that's been done down here. The Downtown Denver Partnership is committed to this effort. 100%. And we're working with DPD to make sure that we have everything in place. So when the mall opens up and we can bring people down and people can have a good time and just really enjoy Denver and enjoy the mall. So we're ready for that, and we have all of our initiatives to support that. And our Clean and Safe app, our public shared radio network. We now have a dispatch center that's going to be able to monitor that network. And I mean, so many safety initiatives to really make everybody feel and be safer, and just have our teams out there visible and helping people, helping people get places and making sure that again, people just feel safe. And that's been the focus ever since I got down in 2022. That's been the focus of the partnership and the police department and the city as a whole. So yeah, now's the time to come down. We need people.
Ryan, would you take just a quick second? I think there's people on the call who might not know what the radio network is.
The Public Shared Radio Network is a private radio channel that we operate out of the partnership, and all a building would have to do if they want to be part of this network is get a radio, and then they can communicate amongst themselves. So this is not a radio channel to go to the police department, but it's a radio channel that all the private businesses that want one can communicate and talk to each other about things that are happening, or somebody that is created a disturbance, or we've had protests come downtown. So that's always been good to notify where people are going and where they can expect to see the traffic. So it's just a good communication tool, and we have 65 members on that right now, and monitored again through our dispatch channel so that we can control that and make sure that it's being used to its most effective capability.
Thank you, Ryan. I just wanted, because I think there might be tenants and things of buildings on the phone on the call today, and so that way they can understand that their buildings are being very proactive at staying engaged to what's going on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stephen.
And
Stephen, may I interrupt for just a moment?
yes, ma'am.
Director Saldate is watching us, but he's unable to connect as a panelist. Is that something that Rob or I need to, or I don't want to interrupt?
I'll probably have to go in and do it. So
okay,
we'll go ahead and get started with Travis Bogan with Dottie, and he's going to update us on what's going on with the 16th Street Mall.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen here. 1 minute. All right. Hopefully you can all see that. Thank you for having me today. My name is Travis Bogan, Director of Special Projects and Initiatives Division for Dottie. And I'm excited to share an update on 16th Street Mall project. Before I start, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge Stephen Shepard. Thank you for your support and role on the 16th Street Mall Champions Group. The 16th Street Mall project is going to revitalize 16th Street from Market to Broadway. Our goals include improving safety and mobility, addressing deteriorating infrastructure, and creating more opportunities for the people who live, work, and visit the Mile High City to enjoy 16th Street for years to come. Some highlights of the project include fully reconstructing 16th Street from Market to Broadway, replacing the existing granite paver system with one that drains more effectively and offers greater surface friction to improve safety so you won't slip on days like today. We're moving and consolidating the transit lanes to the center of 16th Street and eliminating the median that runs between the buses on some blocks. And that allows us to create wider ADA accessible pedestrian ways and new amenity zones for people to lounge, work, and play. We're expanding and diversifying the tree canopy, and this just shows a cross-section of really the tree ecosystem and infrastructure we're providing for a healthy urban tree canopy. We're honoring the mall's iconic original design by I.M. Pei and Associates in Olin, and we're adding exciting new features that'll draw people to the corridor. So let's take a look at how we're building this project. Really, this project is constructed within 3 phases. The first phase includes all of the utility work, the transitway construction, tree structure, soil planting, and business and building access is provided by walkways along either side of the construction area. So here you can see an example of an aerial view of what this phase 1 configuration looks like. Here you can see some of the new trees being planted. Now, once we complete phase 1, phase 2 moves the construction zone to the outside of the street to construct the pedestrian way paver system. So general access will be provided on the new granite pavers in the center of the street, with building and business access provided by walkways to the doorways. The move to phase 2 is coordinated closely with adjacent businesses and property owners and managers, with a couple meetings on site to understand the business and building needs. And the project team creates a unique design for each block to provide the best access plan during construction. You can see the recent transition to phase 2 in the block between Larimer and Lawrence, and it is really neat, I have to tell you, to walk on the new pavers, so try it out. The final phase of the project, phase 3, will have minimal fencing to protect the installation of planters, seating, ikes, play features, and moment of joy. I also want to let you know we have a project dashboard on our website that shows schedule progress as well as other metrics: percent complete, cost expended, certified firm participation, business support opportunities, and our safety progress. As you can see, we'll begin opening blocks later this spring and into the summer. So get ready to celebrate as construction wraps up. We're going to be hosting parties and activations, and you can find this information and many other resources at the project website, and I'll show you that in a minute. So let's take a look at what's coming to the revitalized 16th Street. We have a public life playbook that's going to guide the curation of the public and private activities to create the vibrant downtown that the community envisioned during the planning of the project. And our partners from DDP are already meeting with 16th Street businesses to plan their patios and activations around different activities using this guidance. We'll have a variety of furniture, fixtures, and equipment configurations or rooms that we can set up along 16th Street to support the adjacent activities, businesses, and buildings. The next couple slides are really neat, though. If you click on this QR code, it'll send you to 360-degree renderings of some of the project elements. So if you get out your phone and scan it, you may need to approve some access to motion sensors. This image is one of our moments of joy, featuring a greenback cutthroat trout, which is a state fish. It's going to be placed on the blocks between Market and Larimer, near the Barclay Tower and the Thompson Hotel. This is the Hive play structure, and developing spaces that are comfortable and inviting for families is key to creating a welcoming, vibrant, active downtown. So this play structure will be installed between Lawrence and Larimer near Ryder Square. Here we have a scattered leaves moment of joy designed to have lighting and sound elements that can surprise and delight people, and it'll be located outside Independence Plaza between Arapahoe and Curtis. And the last moment of joy I have for you today is the grasslands, meant to emulate Colorado's prairie lands. So long metal tubes will gently sway in the breeze with space to sit and enjoy. And this will be placed between Cleveland and Court, closer to the Broadway end of the project. So as I mentioned, we're going to begin completing blocks along the new revitalized 16th Street this summer. And as we complete blocks, we're going to be hosting parties and activations to entice people back downtown. We want to make great public spaces with well thought out urban design to promote activations and engagement, to Brian's point earlier. So come Labor Day, the first 4 blocks will be operating in the new normal condition with the free electric shuttle back on 16th Street between Union Station and Curtis. Thank you, RTD. And by the end of 24, nearly half of the blocks under construction are going to have fences down and open for public use as we await these small scale finishing touches, including some of our exciting new play features. We will be fully complete in the fall of 2025. I'm very excited for 16th Street and for what we can achieve together for downtown. So on behalf of Dottie and the project team, I really thank you for your time and letting me present to BOMA today. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis, so much. It is exciting, and I can't wait to see all of these activations as they come online. So, Executive Director Sodalte, we're excited to have you today. So you are up.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Hello, Lisa, Rob, team, all our partners that are on the call. I apologize for the tech difficulties earlier. I was listening, but I wasn't a panelist, so I wasn't able. I figured I was doing something wrong. I rarely work from home. Today I am out of necessity, but so I thought it was my setup here, but I've been working on calls all day. So I'm glad I'm able to join. I was really excited, Travis, especially to see those renderings of 16th Street Mall. quickly, when I first moved here, I relocated here in 2014 to Denver. And when me and my wife and daughter were out here on our house hunting trip, we went to the mall and fell in love with Denver. And we fallen in love with downtown Denver. And while it got a little rough there for a little bit, especially pandemic time and all that, we still come down to the mall. We still enjoy all the arts, the venues, and all the things. And to see what the mall's going to be here, hopefully soon, is really exciting to all of us. I know it is to you all. We've gone through this rebirth of downtown, and it really we got to thank, I think, Mayor Johnston's his focus, a singular focus when he came in, and he came in and he told us all, we're going to fix downtown, and we're going to prioritize it. And we all knew where we needed to prioritize, and that was around our unsheltered, our encampments. It was something that I've been working on since probably the latter part of 2020. It is something that I'm near and dear with. I've got to know and meet a lot of you in these efforts, and I really thank you all for standing by our side and helping this change. When I go downtown now, and when I drive through some of those spots like 22nd and Stout, around California, around where we used to always just, it became almost normal that you saw large encampments everywhere. It took a big effort by us all to get that relieved from downtown. And then what I really want to talk to you about is what has that been, that decommissioning effort, and how have we been preventing campers returning? You know, occasionally we do have those campers returning. Downtown is free of a lot of the large encampments. We had the one by the post office. We've had all these ones, and it's really been a multidisciplinary approach. We knew we couldn't do it alone. We had tried before, and what we had always had was we would gain ground, but we would lose ground. We would gain ground, and then on the weekend it would come back. We'd do a cleanup. They'd go around the block, or sometimes return that night. I know how frustrating that was to you all. I was on the calls with you all when that was happening, and it was frustrating for us as well. But we really learned from some of what had happened in those cases. Our police department has done incredible around this. They've really devoted the resourcing there, and it's not just been a hard approach with encampments. We've gotten people into shelter, so they don't come back in tents when they're in a place now of shelter. And then we've also had some incredible outreach work. Ryan Ertman, his team, all the folks that are working that are not city employees in this effort have really enabled us to make some huge strides. We've now had our outreach workers with our Denver Green Center who are there right in the heart of the city. And they're folks that are out there engaging with us, have been truly effective. And then our street engagement team, they have been something that I started way back in 2021 before I even got into this role, and they've continued to grow. We've continued to do that. They've truly, everyone's effort, despite also other than just making our city better and looking nicer and all those things and making it safer, let's not forget, it saved lives. Those people that were in tents, in the cold, openly using drugs in that cycle, their lives have been saved by this intervention. And so I'm really happy of the strides we made, but I'm not resting on our laurels. In our positions, we don't get that opportunity. We continue to try to do better, and we continue to have to keep it clean. That's an intentional effort. And that's what we've worked with on a number of systems. So I'll encourage you all, continue to report. When you see one tent, report it, let us know. We're getting out there as soon as possible with all those resources I've talked about. And we're trying to make sure that it doesn't grow into the 2 and then the encampment overnight or over the weekend. We got to stay focused on that so we don't lose ground. And then we're trying to just build and keep expanding. So hopefully one day our whole city will be free of encampments. We're going to continue to expand our resources. It's not going to only be safety. It's not only going to be the police. It's all of our city partners. Dottie has been such an incredible resource. I commonly refer to them as the other first responders. They're out there first responding right now in the snow. They're out there first responding to this cleanup effort. They're out there with the Downtown Action Team cleaning. and cleaning in areas. We've cleaned the encampment. They're right behind their cleaning as well as the downtown Denver partnership, who's been really monumental in this partnership. And then lastly, Visit Denver has really helped us too. They've helped us focus the areas. They've given us that information of when we have a big convention in town, who's coming in, so we could prepare. I want you all to know we've committed a lot of resources here, and our folks are invested. We have folks working weekend overtime, day and night, making sure we're clear. And so I want to thank you all. But again, we're not just saying, hey, we won, or that this is a mission accomplished. By no means. It's not a mission accomplished till we have our beautiful mall back, till we have this and that it's sustained to where it's back normal again, that we're enjoying our beautiful downtown. Thank you for the time today.
You mentioned report it. I know there's always confusion. You want to let the group know where they should report when they see a tent pop up?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that. That has been that has been confusion, and it'll give me an opportunity to also update you on another effort that the mayor's helped us spearhead and we're working on. First of all, we have the Downtown Clean and Safe app. That is something that is, I know you all have it. It is something that works very well in getting out that resource delivery. As always, if you see an emergency, you see a crime in progress, you see a violent crime particularly, you see something happening like that, and that urge and your heart rates get elevated, call 911. That's what we do. That's what I'll always say. There's no replacement for 911. But in those things like a tent just popped up, don't know if someone's in there or not, what I would say, call 311 or report it on denvergov.org. But here's where we're really trying to take that to the next level. The mayor, in several of the meetings that we've all been in, they've talked about, the mayor said, hey, I want to make it easy for our business owners, for our residents, for people passing by to report those encampments. We are, as a city, so 911's under my purview, but we're working closely with 311, and we're working closely with all of our call centers, because unfortunately you can call like probably 30 numbers to try to get a response out. We're trying to combine to a system that we hope to have this summer in place and solidified, where it's 911 for those emergencies and 311 for all else. Then you'll be generated into a voice response system that will prompt you to the right area, and it'll get you connected to the right person, so you don't have to try to navigate the maze of call things, call bots, all that, and that we can get it to the right responder at the right time. So that's what we're working towards. We're all working on it in the background, but we also think that's going to help these efforts here in downtown.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So Lisa, it doesn't look like Evans joined us, which we know that with the snow emergency and everything. And I did check to just see if he happened to be in the non-panelist, but I didn't see him. So we'll go ahead and start with some questions that we have. And so first up,
Stephen, do you mind if I interrupt you?
No.
I'd just like to say one quick thing. Terry had mentioned it in her opening remarks that some of her tenants were asking the question, why should they stay in Denver? I can't answer that from the standpoint of a business, but I can answer it from the standpoint of a resident. We had several folks that left during COVID and during the worst part of the encampments and the bad periods that we've experienced. I think they are kicking themselves now. My wife and I have lived here since 2010 in the downtown area, and we wouldn't live anywhere else. We, to be honest, had considered leaving during the worst of it, but there's been such a tremendous improvement in this area, it's hard to describe. And personally, I think any business that leaves here now, a few years from now, you're going to be kicking yourself, because I think you will be leaving what will be the best downtown in the country.
Thank you, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
So this first question is for Chief Thomas and Deputy Chief Martingano. As the police force grows, are there plans to have more patrol presence in downtown? In particular, I believe that can change the public perception of how safe they feel downtown, as perception is reality for many. Many of us who live and work downtown would love to see positive police community interaction, and so that business, residents, visitors feel connected with the safety branch of our city. Chief Thomas, you want to start?
Yeah, I can start off. So, yes, I think the simple answer to that is yes. Certainly, if people were paying attention, the mayor approved a budget to allow us to expand our police department and hire 167 new officers in 2024. Certainly, that will allow us to get to our authorized strength number and also give us that opportunity to bolster our numbers in every area where we've seen workload challenges. And certainly District 6 has provided, a workload challenge. And so certainly as we continue to have officers graduate from the academy and deploy them on the streets, certainly, downtown Denver and District 6 is going to be one of the primary locations that we look to increase our force.
Yeah, thanks. Just to piggyback off that is same concept. As we continue to grow, I think you notice it at Union Station. We have a good contingent of officers that are RTD police officers there on a permanent basis. As we do grow, we will be able to put those individuals at within the sectors that I had mentioned earlier. We all know that all roads lead into Union Station or all roads lead out of Union Station. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are placing visibility along all the systems. So individuals could see from, hopefully their starting point all the way to their ending point, that they see someone uniformed and visible. So.
Thank you. Welcome, Evan. Good to see you. Deputy Chief Staff of the Mayor's Office has been able to join us.
And Stephen, I'm so sorry to interrupt you again, but if you run across questions, can you please add Councilman Hines and Bonnie from Councilman Watson's office and Lieutenant Albee in case they have questions?
You want them, into the panelists? Is that what you're asking, Lisa?
Well, or if they have a question, they'll need to
Okay,
have
yeah.
access. Yes.
So the next question we have for Ryan, it might be good to highlight the ambassador program.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. And a great problem to have is when you have so many great things going on, you forget to mention them. And I certainly appreciate Kirsten bringing that up because we're in some final development phases of the training program for the ambassador program, but that was something set up by the mayor's office to basically just bring a neighborhood watch to the downtown Denver area and increase presence, increase visibility, and increase eyes on the street. Get people out there just taking ownership, walking around and being a guide, being someone who can direct someone to a restaurant or to the convention center, to report problems, to report some unsafe sidewalk or something that needs to be repaired, or anything that you can think of to report that you're not going to call 911 for, and use the 311, the text of 311, or even the Clean and Safe app if you're in the business improvement district, to just get this information out and get it dealt with. Take some ownership of the condition of your city and say, hey, this is how what needs to be addressed, and then let the city fix it. So it's a great program, and it's gonna be coming out shortly to everybody, and to all, specifically just people who are walking their dogs out for an evening, to just have a vest on, be visible, and be a representative of the city.
Thank you, Ryan. And Ryan, there's another question about the network, which I'm guessing means the radio network. Do you want to just put your email in the chat so that if anybody's interested in that, because I'm guessing you've got some parameters around where you want the radios to actually be set up, right?
Correct. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay. So Gina King, you'll get his email address, and you can email Ryan directly to talk through that program. I know a lot of my BOMA member buildings have those in their offices, and it keeps everybody connected together. So it's awesome. So related to the 16th Street Mall, the Denver Pavilion should be a huge draw for that stretch of downtown, but I don't think I'm alone in thinking that today it's a little bit sad. Are there any initiatives or programs to attract new high-quality businesses to the pavilions? Beth, I'm wondering, are you maybe the best person to answer that question?
Just a sec. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. There we go. I guess so. With great public investment in public spaces, $170 million in this on 16th Street come great opportunities for private investment. And my example that I give to everybody is if you could think back to 15, 20 years ago to what Denver Union Station looked like and what's now fountains and benches and trees were parking lots and empty lots and rail yards. And now we have this great area that's been developed, and 10 years later, there continues to be public and private investment in that area. And now we have this 15-block opportunity, and pavilions, like a lot of other retail and other businesses, suffered not only from just sort of the conditions, economic conditions, but it was COVID, then it's not been easy with the construction, and Travis will admit to that as well. But we're doing everything we can to support the businesses that are there. We've had 3 or 4 new businesses open up there in the last 2 years. So it's not stopping things from happening, but we have also seen some leave. This is an opportunity for reinvestment, and that's what we're really looking forward to in these next 18 months, 2 years. So we work closely with those property owners, and I know they're working really hard to do what they can to bring companies in, and we help meet with those that they're recruiting as well. So stay tuned. Hopefully that
Well,
helps.
and I do know, Beth, you all put out there all the new businesses that are coming in. So
We do.
maybe-
It's part of our high frequency
Right.
report. I'll put a link in for you to post for us, Steve.
Yep, we can just post that in the chat. A concern for safety on the 16th Street Mall will be keeping scooters off the mall. Who will be responsible for this? Is it police, RTD, or DDP's security personnel? That one's a tough one.
I can take some of that because I've recently met with some of the folks, and then maybe Chief Thomas might want to ask or add some here. So I met with some of our Updona partners around this, and I've been engaged in this conversation for some time around where we can start with our scooter enforcement and get more compliance. We've all seen it. We've seen it in accidents and injury accidents. These scooters going way too fast, not keeping a good eye out, vehicles not seeing them, and then the tragic results from them. We've had near encounters of collisions, too many to talk about. So we've really been trying to work on this and how can we enforce it. And unfortunately, it's kind of been, we've been working on the big problems of our encampments and trying to also have resources working this. We're going to be focusing some efforts, particularly around opening day at Coors Field and for the Rockies. We know we're going to get a lot of people, and especially with the warm weather, people coming out and more scooters being out. We're working with Dottie around some signage and some signage. An example that was brought up to me that I didn't quite realize is there could be signs like no riding on the sidewalk, and then the bike lanes or the vehicle lanes say bikes only and not no pedestrians. So there's conflicting signage to this point. The other thing that we'll be doing is I'll have our street engagement team out for opening day and in other times around that for educational context around those trying to get people into that, trying to do social media around that with all of our social media platforms across safety. We have good contact and visibility with that around giving people direction on how to use them. And then ultimately, I think it is working with the scooter providers and the associations. There are things around regulating the speed on those that I think we're still open to in discussing with providers or the vendors of these things. But there's still more work to be done. It's a problem around because they are convenient for folks and for folks to get around, but they obviously do possess safety challenges. And Chief, did you want to add anything else there?
I would just add that this is yet another situation similar to how we attack the unhoused issue. This is a partnership, and so all 3 of those agencies that you just mentioned, safety and RTD and the Downtown Denver Partnership, will be able to address that issue.
Councilman Hines put in the chat, and I was kind of reading down, so I'm going to go ahead and, because he had a comment to Rob's point. In March of 2021, I made the conscious decision to move closer to downtown. Yes, there were encampments in Golden Triangle when I moved into the neighborhood, but I remain very optimistic about downtown, so much that I moved into our center city. So thank you, Councilman Hines, for that, because I think that there are people that hear what you're saying as well. Safety is absolutely #1 concern. However, cleanliness is #2. Is there a city ordinance that requires building owners to keep their sidewalks clean, i.e. swept and power washed daily? The city is filthy with urine, trash, blood, vomit, spit, etc. If each building would keep the sidewalks they face clean, that would go a long way in improving the look and feel of the city.
I'll take this.
Okay, thanks, Beth.
First, let me start. I'm a downtown resident. I've lived downtown since 1998, and I have a long-term plan to be carried out in a box. So from downtown. So love it down here. In these last 10 years, I've had the pleasure of overseeing the Downtown Business Improvement District, which is responsible for those public rights of way, in addition to the private property owners. So all the commercial property owners are responsible for taking care of their sidewalks in front of their buildings. I will say that my own experience isn't quite what you just described, but if you have an issue regarding a particular property owner or property, please report it in the Clean and Safe app. Stephen put that in the chat for you, and let us know if we will approach the building and talk to them about their cleanliness. The Business Improvement District is responsible for, they do power washing twice a year. That's all we can do. It's a 120 block area that we cover. And then property owners can supplement if they want to do more additional work. We have trash cans, I think 140 spread throughout the district. And so we're definitely covered with trash cans, power washing, and then we remove snow from 16th Street. So hopefully that helps answer your question. If you have an issue with cleanliness, please report it in the app. That will help us do a better job.
Evan?
Yeah, just to add a little bit to all that excellent information from Beth, we did create, the city created a couple years ago, maybe it's only been a year, the Denver Action Team. You may have seen the little wrapped trucks that drive around, not just downtown, they're in other parts of the city as well, but they do concentrate downtown. With a focus on the cleanliness aspect of clean and safe, picking up trash, power washing when they can, sweeping, graffiti removal. You can always call 311 in addition to using the Clean and Safe app to request their services. We do have inspectors who also are out enforcing code when it comes to things that need to be kept up in a better way.
Thank you, Evan. The next question, I think, is either for Evan or Armando. I'll let, or maybe both of you will have, is one key issue with policing encampments previously was an injunction that required 7 days notice to clear a tent. Has there been any underlying challenge in legality with which empowers you to act faster?
Oh, I think what they're referring to is we had a settlement agreement called the Lyle Settlement Agreement. We are still within and operate within the parameters set out. We definitely have. I think one of the things around it, there is some there's some confusion around what does it limit us to do and what can we do. But what we have, what has really changed is when Mayor Johnson's administration came in, he came in with, like I said, a singular focus on this, but the focus was also on, instead of closing the encampment, cleaning up the encampment and moving folks along, this one was, we decommissioned the encampment, therefore meaning when we closed an encampment at 22nd and Stout, all of those campers were offered shelter and given shelter in one of the non-congregate shelter settings. And we've continued to do that up until last week when we did that with one of the last remaining big encampments and got them moved into one of the new micro communities. So really that injunction, those things by the city, we are always going to abide by those, the parameters within those. And we're also not going to let it limit us in doing what we need to do. There are enforcement mechanisms we can take place when a singular tent comes up that we can affect without having to do those types of postings. But again, we're also balancing that with, we want to get people into shelter and into appealable shelter like the non-congregate settings and the services that come with them. Evan, did I miss anything there, Jerry?
No, I would just repeat to highlight that if there is a one tent here, two tents there, that we do have enforcement teams, including the police department, who are out every single day, and able to mostly gain voluntary compliance, can be escalated if necessary. It is the large encampments that require that 7-day posting.
Thank you. I'm trying to go through the questions because I think we've answered a few of these, but I want to make sure we get to some of these ones that are different topics. So one I have is for you, Evan. Could you comment on the balance regarding helping business grow vis-a-vis the slowness of business licenses and other related permits?
Yeah, I think the time it takes to review a permit application and get it to approval is something frustrating to city government for a very long time. It is now one of Mayor Johnston's stated goals for this year to make significant and measurable improvement on permit times. We know that sometimes our bureaucracy gets in the way of the speed, and we're doing everything we can to try to speed things up.
Well, I know we finally have a new executive director of CPD, right? Yep. So that should hopefully help get somebody in there that can focus on that. So I know that staff is overwhelmed. There's a few questions that are around, and maybe Evan, this is one you want to answer. Where are the homeless people being transported to or being relocated to? There are like a couple of those, so.
Yeah, sure. And I apologize for joining late, so maybe some of this was already covered. I know that Armando just referenced it in a prior answer. The city is purchased or leasing a number of hotels that are serving as what we call House 1000 locations. And those are transitional housing. And that's where, at this point, over 1,200 people experiencing homelessness have been relocated from encampments, from many of those large encampments that had been downtown for several years. That's where they have been relocated to, and they're now receiving the benefit of wraparound services. There also are currently 2 micro communities, 2 tiny home villages that have been opened up in the last few months, including one earlier this week. That also have welcomed people previously experiencing homelessness. And there's another micro community that's scheduled to open later this month as well. So that's where folks are being moved to.
With improvements in the homelessness issue, one of the other big challenges in trying to convince office users to lease space in downtown is the constant temporary and permanent lane closures, which has made navigating downtown in a car more difficult today in a 50% occupied market versus when office occupancy was 90%. Is the city cognizant of this issue, or is it just the new world of office users must live in if they wish to lease space in downtown? Travis, that's probably one for you, right?
I can take a first cut at that. So thank you for the question. We are very interested in coordinating closely with the city traffic engineer to preserve the ability to have a traffic network that works. And just for reassurance, we, for example, with the 16th Street Mall team have ongoing coordination. Actually, I'll say Dottie for improvements, have ongoing coordination with RTD and the light rail crossing replacement project, ongoing coordination with special events, parades, race routes, and other third-party closure requests. But specifically for the 16th Street Mall project, we're really trying to balance the ability to deliver this project as fast as possible and minimize disruptions. And there are trade-offs. And so yes, we are intentionally trying to minimize impacts and keep the network moving. But there is a lot of work required to keep our city and maintain our assets in a state of good repair. So we're making those investments as well. So I hope that answers the question.
And Travis, I'll stay with you. With hopefully more people on the mall, what safety concerns do you have regarding the buses traversing the 16th Street Mall? Will the different configuration of the street increase or decrease pedestrian safety? I noticed where the stones have been installed, some areas have curbs and some do not. That's
Thank
probably
you for
all
that question. Yes.
pre-construction, right?
The new design has been developed to improve safety, and I'll talk about a few ways we're doing that. We've consolidated the transit way. So instead of the median in the middle between the buses where people can walk to hang out and then leave, we put the buses together so there isn't that space. Really, there's less opportunity or need to cross into that middle space. We also have essentially different zones. So there's the building edge zone for patios and other space. There's a pedestrian walkway zone that's about 10 feet. And then there's the amenity zone where you'll see the trees and the lights alternating with the furniture and fixture and equipment in between. And this is intended to be a barrier and a delineation, although it's permeable, right, between the pedestrian way and the transit way. We also, during design, worked very closely with some of our mall champions and some of our community members with visual impairments, and we've installed tactile strips. There's different textures on a band of pavers right on the outside of the amenity zone, so people with canes can feel a difference and know where the transit way is compared to the pedestrian way. So we have taken a lot of intentional design elements and community engagement to make sure that this mall is safer than the last mall. One other thing I also want to note, you pointed out that there's not curbs everywhere. We intentionally designed this reconstructed mall with a curbless cross section so that when there are events, we could have the mall ride off the mall and activate the space more. But there are sections of curbs at the mall ride stops so people know where to expect the buses. So hope that helped.
Thank you, Travis. Evan, can you please speak about the mayor's commitment to keeping tenants and businesses in downtown and also about activation of empty storefronts? I know that Beth kind of approached this a little bit, but I think they wanted to hear what the mayor's office was also thinking.
Yeah, I think, in partnership with the partnership, we absolutely are committed to recruiting more businesses downtown, keeping the businesses that are there, and helping them stay and grow. I think, Travis's the 16th Street Mall project and the progress that we're making there, and I think there's some light here at the end of the tunnel. These things combined are going to be immensely helpful to increase the kind of traffic that we all need for the businesses down there to be successful. The activation of downtown has been a priority of Mayor Johnson since he took office on July 17th, and will continue to be a focus for the duration. Success in downtown is vital to the success of the whole city.
Thanks, Evan. Let's see. I think maybe we have time for one more, and then Lisa and I are committed to looking at some of these questions to see if there's a way for us to get answers to people. I think one is really quick. Yes, the graffiti and tagging 311 or the Clean Safe app to report those. Beth, correct? Does the city enforce cleanliness ordinance outside of the DBD? There are many areas that have enormous amounts of trash in the alleys and streets. California and 21st is one of the many examples. Again, I think that would be 311. The Clean and Safe app, is that, Brian, does that have boundaries, right? Because there was one of the questions about they expand the boundaries of that?
Yeah, the business improvement district is from Spear to 20th and Union Station to Civic Center, and then it goes up to, I think, Sherman. So yeah, it's very limited in the sense of what it can service and provide reporting for. And if you report outside of that zone, it'll send back a message, except for now during the encampment work that we're doing, it'll send back a message telling you that to call 311 because you're outside of the business improvement district.
Perfect. Does the city?
Sorry, Stevens, and just to, I think, answer the broader question, yes, the city does absolutely enforce outside of just downtown, and 311 is probably the best mechanism to call and complain and request enforcement.
Stephen, I didn't want to interrupt, but I know there's one thing we did not touch on. It's the migrant issue. One of my buildings in particular has a church, and that church was housing the migrants. And just wondering about what the city's response is to the crisis, how they're, I know that a lot of them are coming here looking for work, but they can't. So just interested in the mayor's office response.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question, because that obviously is a huge area of focus for the mayor as well. So since December of 2022, there have been about 40,000 people who have come to and through Denver from the southern border, primarily as part of the crisis that's happening in Venezuela. About half of those people we know have left the city and traveled on to other parts of the country. That would leave about 20,000 people here. There are not 20,000 more people in Denver. They are throughout the state. Frankly, there's probably between 5,000 and 10,000 folks who have stayed. We currently in 5 hotel shelters right now have about 1,300 people. We had a high of almost 5,000 people in shelter at any given time during the end of December, first half of January timeframe, but those numbers have come down significantly. We saw a big slowdown in the number of people who are coming here every day, starting to tick back up again as part of what is probably a seasonal increase. We are consolidating and closing those shelters. We are trying to pivot away from an emergency shelter program to something that looks a little bit more like housing assistance. To your point about work, most people who are coming here do not have work authorization. They do want to work by and large, and the city and the state and nonprofit partners have been working together on work authorization clinics to try to help people who are interested in applying for work authorization to get their applications filled out and get them in. Federal government has been somewhat helpful on that front too, in processing those applications quickly so that people can then obtain and work. We have this sort of dichotomy that happens. We've got this group of people that are coming here, they want to work. We've got rules and regulations that prohibit them from working. We have employers who want to put them to work. So we're trying to navigate our way through that complication to connect people who want to work with people who want to hire them.
Thank you. Evan, I know that you are, and everybody else with the city is probably with this snowstorm. So we're about 6 after our intended stop time. So with the success of this forum, Rob and Lisa and I have been talking about looking to do this on somewhat of a, at least maybe twice a year basis. But as things come up, feel free to reach out to both of our organizations, whomever you're a member of, because Lisa, Rob, and I will stay connected and figure out if we need to pull something together quickly because of something that's going on or whatever, to keep everybody informed. Because I know this new partnership that we found, I think it's going to grow into something great to make downtown even better and keep everyone informed of what's going on. So thank you all. Rob,
we're partnered very closely with DDP, with Downtown Denver Partnership, and so they'll be involved in these as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. And the options open. I know we're going to try to have this at our crime lab space over at 14th and Cherokee. And if you want to do an in-person, that offer still stands. We'll be happy to host and look forward to it.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that.
And Ryan and Beth, keep up the good fight at bringing downtown back. And Travis, keep us on track.
Thank you, Stephen.
We hope that everybody has a great rest of their day and stay warm.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you all for attending.
Bye.